If I was compiling a list of the most delicious foods in the world, this would certainly belong in the top 20, even though it's almost unheard of outside of Tunisia and France. Yes, France! The French seem to have discovered this in recent years, and various versions have been published in French cooking magazines and appear on restaurant menus. The method I'm showing you here is the best of the best, in my opinion. Trust me on this, though. Discovering completely new and delicious flavors doesn't happen every day, so prepare to be delighted. This is really good.
And we're going to blanch this lemon. This will remove the wax that they always put on the outside of lemons. It'll also clean it up. Leave it in here for just like a couple minutes. Wipe it down. Make sure we get as much of the wax off it as possible. We're going to slice it lengthwise. Then slice it again lengthwise. So we're going to cut it into quarters like this. Okay. Now into each of these we're going to put 4 slices like this. Open it up like that with 4 slices on each one. Repeat it. I have a dish here that I've lined with coarse salt. By the way, the edges of this are not dirty. It's just stained because this thing's been used for about 30 years now. This is coriander seeds and black peppercorns, about a teaspoon of each. So I'm going to arrange the lemon slices into this dish. You want a dish that's a snug fit. Don't use a dish that's huge. You'll end up having waste a vast amount of spices and salt in order to make it work. So it just barely fits. I'm going to put the mixture. It doesn't have to be perfectly even because as this cooks it'll kind of work itself out anyway. And I got a bay leaf. I'll tear this into a few pieces. Try to distribute that some more. And put more salt. You just need enough to cover it. You don't need tons and tons, but you do need enough to make sure that the lemon's completely covered. Okay, it was in the oven for 4 hours, and now I'm going to dig these lemons out of here. Transfer them over to a bowl. Lemon slices, I should say. And these have to be cleaned up. Of course, we got to get rid of this salt off the top of them. There'd be no point. It'd be nothing but salt. Okay, now we're going to wash these off. Now we have our piece of lamb here. I've used some of that salt that the lemon and the spices were mixed with and rubbed it. The rest of that salt is really you can just throw it away. But you might as well get a little bit more use out of it and use it for the lamb. Into heavy pan. This is actually a non-stick pan, even though it looks like it's cast iron in the video. Probably it's non-stick. Pan's hot. We're going to sear both sides of the lamb. While the lamb is browning, I'm going to grind up the spices. Again, we've got a teaspoon of coriander seed, a teaspoon of black peppercorns, bay leaf, and then also 1 dried red chili. I grind this to powder. After you've browned the lamb, we're going to transfer it into close-fitting braising dish. And in the pan where the lamb was just cooked, we're going to put just saute briefly the onions and the garlic to try to pick up the residue off the bottom here a little bit. We don't want to brown these. We're just quickly sauteing them just to get fragrant for just like 30 seconds. That's all. 45 seconds. Now I'm adding water to this. You could also add lamb stock if you had it. Water will work fine here. And I'm going to bring this up to a boil while I season. Yeah, here's the spices I just ground up. You saw me doing just a minute ago here. And here's our preserved lemon. Put it around here. Not really preserved. It's reduced. Now this is at a boil, so I'll put this over the top of it. It's all ready to go to bed. It's going to go in the oven and braise now. And eventually the long braise time comes to an end. And this is what it looks like. We're going to take the lemons off and sieve the liquid off. Pull the lemons off. These are really soft now. And this meat is so soft there, the bone just pulls out of it. I'm going to discard that. And then we strain the liquid off to fat separating pitcher. And the stock on the bottom level, we're going to keep. The top fat level, we're just going to throw at this point. Okay, the stock that was drained off of the lamb, or the cooking broth, braising liquid, whatever you want to call it, it was strained. It went into a pot with the same weight of lamb. I had when I finished cooking the lamb, it weighed 400 grams, so I cubed up 400 grams of potatoes. I'm adding a little bit more water to make sure that the potatoes are covered, and I'm also adding one of the lemon segments. Let me pick one that's a good one here. Okay, so I'm going to add this to it to help further that flavor, and bring this up to a simmer and cook until the potatoes are still firm but cooked. I want to show you, we're simmering this gently with the lid on it. They're not bringing us to a rolling boil. When you've got the potatoes cooked to where they're fork tender, they're cooked through, but they're certainly not overcooked. And then we're going to grind up the spices. I've got half a teaspoon of fenugreek, whole teaspoon of oregano, and 2 whole red chilies. Also had the cloves in there, I forgot to mention. So here's the stock that the potatoes were just cooked in, and I'm going to add this, bring it back up to a simmer. They're quite soft, a little bit difficult to work with. They have some pulp on the inside, and this is what you want to do. You want to try to scrape the pulp off. You don't want to use the skin itself because it's too bitter, but you're going to take this pulp, this mushy pulp, and try to get, if you can, try to get a couple teaspoons of this. You may or may not have that much to work with. This is really, really soft and squishy at this point. And then this pulp only, not the skins, but the pulp only, is going to go into the same stock here. Okay, and here it goes in. Now we're going to simmer this, reduce it, and stir it around. It's got to cook for quite a while. Now, after about 15 or 20 minutes, you get it up to this stage. You can see the thickness by how long it takes to fill the void back in. Now I'm going to add that little bit of ketchup, about a tablespoon, something like that. The reason I don't add it sooner is it makes it more difficult to tell how far it's reduced. So this is fine now. Just stir it together, and I'm going to pass this through a sieve and combine it with the lemon juice, and we'll have our sauce will be ready. After you've finished rubbing this through a sieve, you're going to add the lemon juice over the top of the same thing. Yeah, if you've read my cocktail book, it's just like supercharging the liquors. It's the same sort of principle, huh? Okay. Stir this together. Now, this will be our... You thread the potato and the lamb onto skewers and put those into the smoker, just like this. And after it comes out of the smoker, I'm going to dress it with some of the sauce. Putting it under a bowl because we don't have that much sauce and we need to recycle it. So whatever runs off of it goes back into the container. Make sure you get all of it. And then hit it with a little cilantro. And get ready to plate it up. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.